Okay, so here I'm gonna try to do something tricky, because it's a prediction. You know, predictions happens to be kind of tricky. But for that I'm gonna use just 8 cards, just to make it a bit easier. Pick one, don't take it, just pick any card you want. The 9 of clubs. Are you sure you want that one or you wanna change it? Be aware of all these cards are different. Notice I already know you're gonna pick the 9 of clubs. Notice that the way to demonstrate it is here by looking at all these cards. They happen to be red, each and every one of them. Okay, just the card you pick, that's the only one that is blue. Now you're probably thinking, well, it's just coincidence. And to demonstrate it, that is not. I'm gonna do it once again with 6 cards and 6 cards only, so we can see how it goes. Now just pick one card, any card you want. The 10 of hearts. Now you're sure you want that one, you don't want to change it. Okay. To demonstrate it once again, as you can see over here, I have cards. They all happens to be red, except the card you pick. The only card that is a blue card. Now, for you to see that is an easy one, I'm gonna show you how it's done. Hi everyone, so right before I even begin explaining the performance, let me show you the basics of the original way in which I got my own variation, but this is the classic one, the one magicians do the most. Let's say the spectator pick the Ace of Hearts, in this case doesn't matter which one. You proceed to show all these cards, okay, there happens to be red except the card they pick, which is a blue back. Now that is the easiest method, which is the one I will start explaining right now. Notice over here all the cards, they are interlaced in color, just make sure they don't repeat in the faces. Even when you begin and finish, you will end up with an instant reset, okay? They all interlace in color. Now it doesn't matter which card they pick, the 10 of spades. Notice I'm cutting this pile right to the top from whatever card they pick, and they remain in the interlacing color. But notice in the beginning, because I'm beginning with a red card and ending with a blue card, doesn't matter the sequence. It doesn't matter if you do single cuts, they always remain in sequence, because as long as they are single cuts, they will always remain perfect interlace. So let's say they pick the Ace of Hearts, okay? So I leave it right there and then I put it right on top. And you just take a single one and show the back. You always show in the back of this card the 3 of spades, but you're showing the pack in the single. Put a single one first on the table and then the one from the pack. Grab another one, show the back, put a single and then the one from the pack. And you keep showing the back of this pack, which they subconsciously may think is the back of this one. Put a single one and then the one from the pack, and then keep the other one for the last, so you can show always the color. You don't want to make the audience to really keep thinking too much. This is why I always keep showing at least one color, so they don't forget by showing the face. When you show the back, they probably forget which color is the color you were showing. You never know, so I always try to keep it visual. So that's the basic anyway, the one magicians usually perform. Now I will start explaining the one I show in the performance, which is a little trickier. I have obviously the same cards, and then I have an extra set of cards, 6 cards over here interlaced for a second performance in case you want to do it 2 times. Then I do just false shuffles and cuts, always keeping the same setup of cards, you know, without mixing them up. And then the Hindu shuffle, notice I'm keeping a pack right below and grab the ones on top at the same time, so the bottom section remains, you know, on shuffle. Anyway, I'm grabbing 8 cards over here. Then as spectator the same, which card do you want? They want the 8 of hearts, let's say. If they want the card on the top, you just leave it right there on top and you don't need to cut. But if they want some card in the middle, let's say the 8 of hearts, then you have to cut and put the remaining cards right on top, okay? And that's it. Now you're watching the performance, I always ask, are you sure you don't want to change it? The reason is because I'm going to grab a pinky break right above the bottom cards, 2 cards. Then I do a ring finger break right above the next 2 cards. So I have a pinky break right above the 2 bottom cards, then a ring finger break right over the next 2 cards. And then the remaining 3, I'll just put them right over. So I had 2 breaks. 2 below the pinky and 2 below the ring finger. That's it. From the audience, they aren't supposed to see the break. Okay? And then I push over here with the thumb against the index finger, so I can flip them over. So they don't spread, because you just try to grab this pack, these top 3 cards to my other hand, you may end up spreading over here. So to hold them up in position, I move my middle finger right here in this corner, and then the thumb on this opposite corner, you spin, and you secure these 3 remaining cards on the other hand. Now I still have the pinky break at this point. This is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna show these 2 cards as one. I'm gonna bend the 2 below, over here as you can see. I'm gonna bend it, and I'm gonna try to show, the 2 cards over here. I'm trying to show the backs. So I'm trying to push these 2 cards above the pinky break as one. Now you don't have to push it off, because you wanna keep them together, or you wanna keep them perfectly square. So instead of pushing the top 2 cards, you can just bend the 2 cards below instead. So you show over here, and I'm just peeling from these 3 cards, 1 card from the top. You just show 4 cards. That's the display. To bring this double back over here, you can use the surface, okay, to push everything, to bring everything back into position, while you put in this card over here from the 3 cards you have in the other hand. Then I put 1 from the remaining 4 cards over here. Then I do it again. This time I'm gonna show the back of this. I'm gonna peel off this card, and in this case I'm not pushing off this card over here, because you may end up flashing the red color or the opposite color, whichever is the case. So just peeling off the single card over here and show, and then put a single one over here, and then from the remaining 2 put it over here, the other one. Then I have a double. I put these 2 cards as one right over, and then I keep showing off the color of this card, the back, always, so you can show the color contrast. And by doing this, you will end up with the cards again perfectly interlaced. Now let me go ahead and repeat this one more time before I even show you the second part of the performance. As the spectator to pick any card, let's say they want the Ace of Hearts, you cut from whatever they pick. When I'm showing the spread, just so the audience make sure they don't want to change their mind, I'm gonna catch a pinky break right over the 2 bottom cards, and then a ring finger break right over the next 2 following cards. And the remaining 3, I just put it right over the ring finger. So I had 2 breaks, pinky finger break and ring finger break. Okay, just 2 cards below the pinky finger and 2 cards below the ring finger. Then just putting my thumb over here against the middle or index finger, in this case the index finger, so I don't spread them. I keep these 3 cards together. Then I'm pushing off the top 2 cards, which is the 2 cards right over the pinky break. Just push them off and push 1 from here. That's why I'm not doing pinky breaks over here, so I can just push them and show them very quickly. So I'm gonna bring them back over here. Then the first card that I'm putting on the table is the one from this stack, which is 3 cards over here. And then you put the following card from the stack of 4, you put it next. Then at this point I push off just a single card and go ahead and display. Then you put this card from the stack of 3, you put it first, then from the stack of 2 you put it next. Okay, from these 2 cards you just put them as one right there, and then use this card to show it off, show the color, to display the chosen card, and that's it. Now for a second part of the performance, some magicians, they use the same stack to repeat the performance. In my case, I think that looks fishy, so I'm just gonna grab a new set of cards. In this case I'm gonna use 6. The original way I was thinking about it was by using the same stack and then remove 1 card and just use these same 6 cards. Instead of using a new set of 6, I was thinking, to use the same set of 6 cards over here, but in that case, it doesn't seem to be like a prediction. That seems to be like color changing routine instead of a prediction routine, because you're changing that selection into a new color instead of making a legit, sort of speaking, prediction. Anyway, you see the same situation. They are interlaced in color, and let's say they want 2 of hearts. In this case, I don't have to do a single cut, or let's assume they want 10 of hearts. In this case, I'm gonna cut from whatever they pick. I'm gonna do a pinky break right over the 2 bottom cards, keeping 3 cards on top. I'm gonna do exactly the same. The top 3 cards, I'm gonna move them from this hand to the empty hand. So I can peel off 1 card from the pack of 3, from the pack that it has 3 cards. Now I'm just gonna turn over this. I'm not gonna turn over this one. So at this point, I'm doing a keys count. I already have a tutorial for a keys count. So go to this video full note on the link number 1. Then I did a Rumba count. Okay. If you want to know how to do the Rumba count, just go again to this video full note. And I'm gonna show you in the same video the keys count and the Rumba count. Now in this case, I believe the keys count looks better for some reason, in my subjective opinion. Let me show you once again. You spread, they are interlaced in color. When you close the spread, I'm keeping a pinky finger break right below the top 3 cards. Then I'm transferring the top 3 cards to my empty hand. I show the back so they can see red, red, and red. And just turn over this pack, not this. Then I'm doing a keys count. And the reason that I like the keys count better than the Rumba count is because it is showing the back of this other stack several times. Every time I'm spinning, I'm flashing this back, which I think that's why it looks maybe better than the Rumba count. Then from this point, I do a Rumba count. Or you can do a keys count again. That's gonna be up to you. Okay. So that is a nice sort of way to approach and repeat this routine. Now, if you want to know the basic routine that I showed at the beginning of this tutorial, which is the basic way magicians do, I think it's a much easier one than this variation that I came across. Now, they're all very powerful. If they want to see it again, you may use this other variation that I just explained. So hopefully you like them.